Video number 4. What money am I required to show? This presentation provides details of how much money you need to show in yours or your parent or guardian's bank account to support your Tier 4 application. You are required to show evidence to the Home Office that you have the first year of tuition fees plus a certain level of maintenance funds. The amount of money you have to show for maintenance will vary, depending on whether the Home Office class you as having an established presence in the UK. You should check the Tier 4 policy guidance for up-to-date information about what an established presence is. The current requirements for having an established presence state that you must have current entry clearance, leave to enter, or leave to remain as a Tier 4 migrant, as a student, or as a postgraduate doctor or dentist when applying for further leave, and on the date of your application you have finished a single course that was at least 6 months long within your last period of entry clearance, leave to enter, or leave to remain, or you are applying for a continued study on a single course where you have completed at least 6 months of that course. If you meet the Home Office definition of having an established presence, you are only required to show evidence of 2 months' maintenance. If you do not meet the Home Office definition of having an established presence in the UK, then you will need to show up to 9 months of maintenance. The monthly maintenance amount required is currently £800 per month for students studying outside of London. The monthly maintenance amount required for dependents of Tier 4 students studying outside of London is currently £450 per month. If you are living in university accommodation and you have paid some accommodation fees to the university, it is possible to offset up to a maximum of £1,000 paid against the amount you need to show in your bank account for maintenance. It is possible to use overseas bank accounts as evidence, but if you choose to do so, you will also need to provide a printout from oanda.com, which converts the amount to pounds sterling on the closing balance date. It is possible to use either personal bank statements or your parents' bank statements as evidence. If you choose to use parents' bank statements as evidence, there are additional documents you will need to provide with your application. It is important to note that the format of bank statements and bank letters must meet Home Office requirements, and you should refer to the Tier 4 policy guidance carefully to ensure yours do so. It is important to remember that the required money must have been held for a consecutive 28-day period at the time you apply. Video number 2 provides details of all documents needed to support your application. One of the most common reasons for applications being refused is due to the evidence of finances not meeting the UKBA's Tier 4 policy guidance requirements. You should read this carefully, therefore, before submitting your application. It is worth noting that the amounts stated in this presentation are correct at the time of filming, which is May 2013, but these can change and sometimes at short notice. You are therefore required to check the Tier 4 policy guidance for the most up-to-date amounts. Here we provide an example of how much somebody with an established presence will need to show in bank statements. Somebody with an established presence who had paid all of their tuition fees to the university and £1,000 of accommodation fees to the university would need to provide evidence of £600 in bank statements. An established presence means that you would need to show a total of 2 months of maintenance funds. The current monthly amount for maintenance is £800. This would mean you had to show a total of £1,600 for maintenance. As you have paid £1,000 of accommodation fees to the university, this can be deducted from the amount you have to show in your bank statements. Therefore, £1,600 minus the £1,000 of accommodation fees paid is a total of £600 that you need to show in your bank account. Here we provide an example of how much somebody without an established presence will need to show in their bank statements. Someone without an established presence on a course that was 12 months long, who had paid all of their tuition fees to the university and £1,000 of accommodation fees to the university, would need to provide evidence of £6,200 in bank statements. Not having an established presence means that you would need to show up to 9 months of maintenance. The current monthly amount for maintenance is £800. Therefore, a total of £7,200 in maintenance funds would be required in this instance. As you had paid £1,000 of accommodation fees to the university, this can be deducted from the amount you have to show in bank statements. Therefore, £7,200 minus the £1,000 of accommodation fees you have paid would total £6,200 that would need to be held in your bank account.